All right, let's start off by saying Barakatiyawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakudash. Welcome to the live lesson. The name of this one is And the Rest Were Blinded. This is a title that just came to me. Um, Earlier, I was walking with the brother Kanak from the San Francisco camp. Brothers here helping me out uh, greatly. And pretty much we were just talking amongst ourselves. And I mentioned to him that, a lot of these people that's out here, especially ones that call themselves Israelites, these people, the rest of Jake out there, we don't even really pay too much mind to them because they're pretty much appointed, to go down that route, not to be able to get this truth. But you also have individuals that are in the truth or call themselves in the truth and don't know what they're involved in and are blinded to what's really going on around the world concerning prophecy. Their whole thing is, about making merchandise of the Lord's people, living their best life, you know, being able to stun on people, looking good and, smelling good and having the nicest whips and all that stuff and all that other superfluous vain nonsense, and one thing we were talking about is pretty much prophecy and how, today when you analyze the world and the condition that it's in and the things that are happening worldwide, you can see the prophecies popping off everywhere. In the past, in the ancient world, you had the Lord that gave the prophets visions. Some of the visions came to pass at certain periods of time, but other of those prophecies didn't happen until the times that we're living in right now. And we're in a great time of prophecy and prophecy speaking all over the world because the Lord said that his word doesn't go out void. You see? So if he spoke something, he said it's going to happen. But the thing about it is, at one point, the prophecy lays dormant, and then eventually the prophecy starts to speak when the Lord, you know, moves it, or when the time comes for the prophecy to start speaking. All right. Now we're in a time for prophecy to really start speaking loud and clear. And we see it clear, we see it crystal clear. We see, everything moving in the direction that the Lord said it would move. And a lot of these individuals that do the things that they do, are doing these stunts that they do is because they don't see the prophecy speaking. All right. It says Isaiah 42:9, behold, the former things are come to pass, and new things do I declare. Before they spring forth, I tell you of them. So before anything happens, prophecy wise, the Lord tells us about them first. Now, who are the ones that the Lord tells the prophecies to, or reveals the prophecies to first? Well, let's go to Amos chapter 3 and verse 7. For those of you that may not be familiar with the scripture, these are basic building block fundamental scriptures. Amos 3:7. Surely the Lord power will do nothing. So the Heavenly Father will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets. And what do the prophets do? They in turn go out and prophesy. So before anything happens, the Lord he tells us about it. How does he tell us about it? Through the prophets. What do the prophets do? Get the vision, tell the vision. And eventually, in process of time, the vision happens. Let's go from there to Ezekiel. And we've been blowing the trumpet, Elder Pastor for the last 40 years. Some of the other apostles, 35 years. Myself, about 32 years this year. Some of the bishops are coming up on their 30th year. Some of the bishops have already crossed into their 30th year, So Ezekiel 3:17 says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. This is the job of a prophet, to sit upon the tower watch what's going on. In this day and age, the modern day tower would be the internet, constantly looking through, sifting, seeing what we can use content wise to uh, bring out and warn Israel, whether they are part of the elect or not, because at the end of the day, one of two judgments is going to hit you. If you're a part of the elect, you're going to be saved, and if you're part of not the ones that are not elected, you're going to be destroyed. So our job, sometimes we get information that's sent to us, which Lord's will, if I remember, I could try to pull it up because I meant to pull it up. I meant to pull up this article that a brother sent me, but I didn't get a chance to. So hopefully I can get it, I can pull it up and find it on here. On let me see. Let me just read this and then I'll pull that up. Ezekiel 3:17, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. And that's how we do it. So that's why we're constantly watching. And whatever information brothers send to us, we in turn turn around and give it to you. All right. Let me see what if I can pull this up. Let's see. Just bear with me. Let's see if this comes up. I'm trying to find. Okay, here we go. This is it. All right, so let's go back. So it says, Son of man, I have made thee a watchman unto the house of Israel. There it says, therefore hear the word at my mouth and give them warning from me. And that's why the prophet Habakkuk said that he would stand upon the tower. Today the tower would be these the internet, pretty much. Let me see something. Let me just get this other precept that just came to mind. And then let's go back here. The internet is moving a little slow, so bear with me. Today's Saturday, so I guess a lot on. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower. This is the prophet Habakkuk speaking, right? And will watch to see what he will say unto me. See, watch what he will say unto me. What was some of the very last things that Yahushua told the disciples? Watch as well as pray. Watch as well as pray. You've been watching, then watch. You've been watching and keep watching, then keep watching. To keep watching, to keep watching, to keep warning. All right. I will stand upon my watch and set me upon the tower, and will watch to see what he will say unto me, and what I shall answer when I am reproved. And this is what we are out here doing. Like Elder Pastor always says, we are spiritual weathermen, and we're here to tell you what the Lord's business is. Whatever the Lord said is going to happen, well, he revealed the prophecies already, because there's really no prophecies really going out right now. Okay, this is going to happen, so and so, whatever. The prophecies have already been written. The job of the prophets was to have the vision, tell the vision, right? And then in process of time, a lot of those prophets pass away without those visions being fulfilled. In their time, sometimes it was fulfilled maybe 10 years after their death, or maybe 20 years after their death, or in the case of a lot of these prophecies we see now, thousands of years later. But guess what? Those same prophets that were back there are back here now in the reincarnation, and the same prophets that were back then that were given the visions, that spoke about the visions, that wrote the visions, are now breaking down the visions. All right. And the rest will just mock and just try to, continue on making money off of Israel. Talking about we're going to be here for another 1,000. We could be here another 1,000 years. like Chief Alazar. We could be here another 1,000 years. For somebody to say something like that and be in that frame of mind, that means that you're comfortable. That means that you love your life. Yahweh Shai said, if any man love his life, he will lose it. And man lose his life, he will gain something. I'm just merely paraphrasing. So he said that you even have to hate your own life. He that hated not father or mother or son or wife, so on and so forth, and his own life cannot be my disciple. So if you're making statements like that, that means that you're in a comfortable position. That means indirectly, you're saying that the day of the Lord is far off. And that's what those scoffers and mockers said. Since our fathers fell asleep, everything continued as it was from the beginning of the world. So in your mind, you're not looking for the coming of the Lord. And I see why. If you're living comfortable, if you're pushing a nice whip or pushing nice whips, you got money in your pocket all the time. You're not in need for anything. Everybody's lauding and praising you. On all these different platforms. You pretty much got the fame that you wanted in the world that you couldn't get, that you had to use the scriptures to get. So you made it. Congratulations, you made it. But the prophets, on the other hand, are not going to be conformed to this world. The Apostle Paul said it best. We're going to come back to this. Let's go to Romans chapter 12 and verse 2. And be not conformed to this world. See? So to conform means to be formed with. Like you have a cast, and then you pour something into that cast, and whatever metal or whatever you put into it is going to take the shape of whatever is in that cast, right? So that's how it said, do not conform or do not be shaped into this world. Use the world as not abusing it, get in, get out, but don't be conformed to it. Don't be shaped with it, with its ideals. Because these guys that call themselves Israelites today, that are teachers, a lot of them pretty much took the same energy that they had in the world and brought it into Israel. Excuse me. And we've been speaking about that for the longest. Elder Pastor just mentioned that in one of his videos he just recently did. And it's true. We've been speaking about that. That some individuals never left the old man. They brought the old man into the truth, cleaned him up a little bit, but he's still that old nigga. He's still that old spick. And they're still bringing that mentality into the truth. It don't work. It's like oil and water. It says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that you may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most. So going back to Habakkuk, said he would stand upon his watch to see what the Lord would answer him when he was reproved. Right? And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision. Whatever you see, write it down and make it plain upon tables that he may run that readeth it. So either you're going to run away from this thing or you're going to run the race that the Lord set up for you to make it to the end. So you're either going to run two ways. You're either going to run away from it or you're going to run to it. Right? For the vision is yet for an appointed time, because the Lord gave a time and season for these prophecies to be fulfilled. And the reason why individuals fall out, well, first and foremost, they're not part of the elect. The reason why individuals will have that mentality of we could be here for another 20 years, 30 years, 50 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, is because they don't see the visions. They're not marrying the prophecies of the scriptures to, everyday events that they see going on in the world, because they can't see past, this modern corruptible world that is quickly and fastly eroding and is about to perish. This is a temporary thing. The things that we see are temporal. The things that we don't see are eternal. So that means you're not looking for the eternal things because you're too consumed with the carnal things, with the things that you can see with your eyes. You're too in love with this world. You're too in love with money, or you're too in love with fame, or you're too in love with that fashion of this world. So guess what? You got your consolation here. You got what you wanted. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. And we're seeing it speak loud and clear. When you see information out there on how the world is transforming to a digital age, and it's not just America, it's not just a state or a city, or a borough or a continent. You're seeing this thing happening worldwide. These leaders of the world are supposedly fighting against each other. They don't agree with each other, but somehow they find a way to agree that everybody has to have a blockchain. Everybody has to have some central CBDC, central bank digital currency. Everybody agrees that they have to make everything digital, put everything on the computer so that you can buy and sell that way. So that just happens to be a coincidence. They don't agree on nothing else. They're mortal enemies. But then when it comes to the digital system, everybody's trying to jump on board with it. Why? Because that is the prophecy speaking and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. And the reason why individuals don't see it is because they don't see the prophecies playing out in the world. To them, it's taking too long. They want theirs right now. So guess what? You got your consolation. And that was one of the main conversations we were having, or one of the conversations we were having on this walk that we were having. The individuals can't see it. And that's why before I got started, I was going to write down just a various topic with today's date. But then the Spirit just put in my head, and the rest were blinded. I said, So Barakate Hao Bashem Al Shai for that. Now, I'm going to give you one more scripture. Then we're going to get into an article that I just pulled up. And then from there, we're going to hit a couple other precepts, whatever the Spirit gives me, and then that Lord's will, that it'll be edifying, and that'll be the lesson. So Isaiah 62:6, I have set watchmen upon thy walls, O Jerusalem. So the Most High, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushai, set up the prophets. That's who the watchmen are, the prophets. What are they watching for? The prophecies. When they see the prophecies, what do? They tell of the prophecies coming and what's coming and what to expect. And we've been speaking about America being Rome, the correlation of America and Rome, that America's Babylon the Great, that, the prophecy of the MOTB, all these different things that we've been speaking about. Now you have people out there that act like they're experts, and it's more acceptable now than it was back then. Back then, we were being ridiculed about these things, laughed at, but now that they're happening, everybody's an expert in it. Everybody watched a few little videos of the Israelites, got the information they wanted, and are running with it and acting like they're the ones that came up with it. Hey, Elder Apostle Gabar says it all the time. This is a thankless job, but it's not in vain, because the Lord will reward our works. Because the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Bashem El Shai, knows who's been speaking about these things. And he knows the hucksters out there. He knows those frauds out there. He knows those phonies out there that ain't put no work into this, but they're getting all the credit for it. But that's okay, because our reward is in the heavens, in our spiritual bank account that keeps stacking up daily through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. We're building up those spiritual shekels in the heavens. And there's going to come a time of Jacob's trouble, when you're going to be able, the ones that have been putting in the investment are going to be able to withdraw in those times. Others are going to run out of those funds quick. He that soweth sparingly shall reap sparingly. Some of you individuals are just doing just enough to get by, so that their camp leader or the apostles or the bishops or elders don't get on you. You're in the wrong spirit, bro. So you either get with the program or get to stepping. Because the Lord is starting to make a separation between the ones that serve the Lord and the ones that don't serve the Lord. So either you're serious for this truth and you're on fire for this truth, or if you're full of shit, pray to the Lord to take that demon off you, that spirit off you, and get in the right spirit. Or otherwise, you're going to find yourself out the door. The Lord, look, just because you call yourself GMS doesn't make you exempt. doesn't mean that you're part of the elect. GMS, just because you call yourself that, don't mean that you're part of the elect. You know, it's between you and Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And you can't ride the merits of other brothers in this truth. You can't say, well, I'm cool with this brother or this elder, so since I'm cool with him, I'll be able to ride off his coattail. It don't work like that. This is not a buddy system. Work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. One man can only go through at a time. You stand upon the merits that you invested into this truth. You can't stand on anybody else's investments. Those investments that those men are making, that the men are making that are out there, is only enough to cover them and possibly their families. If the Lord, deems their families to be saved. You see? You may have brothers out there that have families, and part of their families might make it on their marriage, and part of them might not make it. Even immediate family, sons, daughters, wives. It all depends on who's the elect and who's not. So it says, I have set watchmen upon thy walls of Jerusalem, which shall never hold their peace, day nor night. Ye that make mention of the Lord, keep not silent. Speak on the daily, and give him no rest. So we're supposed to continuously ask the Lord to deliver us. We're supposed to continuously be out here doing these videos, being out in the streets. Give him no rest till he, meaning the Most High, establish until he make Jerusalem a praise in the earth. Jerusalem is not a praise in the earth. Right now, these rats, are scrambling, to try to make, things, fit them. Try to make prophecies fit them. Here it is. You got the small hats that are setting up the whole red heifer thing, right? Which there's no prophecy in the scriptures that speaks about when you see the red heifer, then you take the red heifer, you sacrifice the red heifer, you sprinkle the blood of the red heifer for the third temple. You ain't gonna find that prophecy. It ain't in there. And now they're talking about setting up that third temple over there by where the Rock of the Dome is at, where them Ishmaelites are at. They're over there, practicing, in front of them, so that's like a direct threat to them. But you know what? That is all a part of the plans of the illuminated ones, which is a part of the Most High's plan. Because you have the Mazzini Pike blueprint, which is Giuseppe Mazzini and Albert Pike. They drew up a plan for 3 major world wars and what each war would entail to bring forth that particular war and what the outcome would be. The Third World War would be fought between the small hats and Ishmael. And that's what they're doing right now, stirring up that strife. You got Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu, JOOS, talking about, and I got that from Elder Malcolm, and talking about how we can't allow Iran to make any nuclear arsenals, the threats, and this, that, and the other. This is all a setup. This is all the Lord setting this up. But indirectly, on the left-hand side, through the international bankers, they're pushing these buttons to move in this direction. So let's go, So let's go to this document that I got here. This is from Watcher Guru. And the brother, I believe it was the brother Quanawath from the New York camp, the brother that helps me with the calendar that sent me this, right? So it says European Central Bank to create a blockchain-based payment system. Now, why is that? Because America's setting it up, and you got, the CBDCs going up, and the cryptocurrencies, and the digital coins, and all this stuff going up, right? So the so-called Europeans are also getting into this, and a lot of these European nations are mad at America. So why are they setting up something like that? Why is Russia and China and them setting up digital currencies? They're mortal enemies with America, right? Why are they setting up these things? Because it's all a part of the game, man. Because it goes back to prophecy. Prophecy. So let's read some of this article. 2025 has seen the global economy. Why global? Because this is a global thing. It's not a continent thing. It's not a country thing. It's not anything more than a global thing. Let's go to Revelation chapter 3. And this is going to put a lot of people in a bad predicament once they implement it. And we can see this guy, Nero Trump, being the guy to push the envelope for this. Because he's, like Elder Apostle Tara pointed out, he's making a lot of erratic moves. He's talking reckless. He's talking greasy. He's making decisions without even thinking about them. So much so that people that voted for him are questioning him and his sanity. So Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience. This is dealing with the prophets, with the elect. I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, because there's going to come a time of Jacob's trouble where the system, if you're not a part of the system, if you're not included in the system, if you're not connected to the system, you're going to be left out of the system. And you're going to be faced, we're all going to be faced with the decision, either you're going to take the micro C-HIP, the MOTB, or starve. And that's going to put a lot of people in a bad predicament. A lot of people out there don't know, so they're going to be willing to take it just so that they can eat. Individuals that know that they're Israelites are going to take it because they've been fucking faking the funk this whole time and not taking this thing serious, And this is going to be a worldwide thing. It says, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. So it was said twice, world and earth. When you look up the word world in the English in the New Testament, there are different Greek words for the word world. When you read the English, everything sounds like it's talking about the same thing. But when you go into the original language, it gives you a better perspective as to what it's speaking about. And in the case of this word world here, it's the word oikomene, right? In the case of the word world in Matthew the 24th chapter in the 3rd verse, when the apostles asked the Lord, or they were disciples at the time, what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? In that case, it's the word eon. The word eon is an age or a period of time. The word oikomene, as you see here, and they go off on the blue letter from time to time, and this one goes off too, but they give you the right one. The inhabited earth, meaning the whole entire planet. It says the portion of earth inhabited by the Greeks. No, it wasn't just that. Even though that to them, they at one time they ruled over the known earth. Different empires ruled over the known earth, but they didn't rule over the entire planet. Then it says the Roman Empire, same thing. The whole inhabited earth, the world. This is what it's talking about. All right, the inhabitants of the earth. So this is what the word oikomene means, the whole entire earth. When you go back, it said it twice in this verse. You go to the word earth. You have the word gi, where you get the word geo or geography. Geo is earth. Graph or graphy is writings of the earth. That's why you look at a map and you see the map of the world scribed out to look like the world, and then they scribe down the different names of the different places or cities or capitals of continents, bodies of water. All right, that's geography, right? That's your globe. See, arable land, the ground, the earth, and the stranding place, the earth as a whole, because this is going to be a worldwide event, and it's going to only affect the ones that are a part of this grid, which you have billions of people that are a part of the grid, billions of people that have smartphones, billions of people that are connected to the internet, billions of people that do business on the internet, billions of people that buy or sell on the internet. And everything is moving in a digital currency way because most people are already used to not using any cash. You see? So going back to this article, 2025 has seen the global economy move to embrace digital assets unlike ever before. Why? Because the prophecies were appointed for a point of time, and at the end it shall speak. So now we're seeing it speak. But a lot of these other individuals don't see that. They're looking for the here and now. They're looking for, I've invested 10 years of my life into this thing. I got to have something to show for it. Well, guess what? The show for it would be known as a reward. The reward comes at the end, not before. You don't normally get paid for a job prior to you doing the job. You get paid after you finish the job. It says, with countries exploring increased adoption, there is no shortage of initiative seeking to leverage, the technology. Now, the European Central Bank is eyeing the creation of a blockchain-based payment system, according to Bloomberg. And blockchain pretty much is just a bunch of data, that's merged together or chained together, which would allow transparency, so that they can't hide it, they can't change it unless it's agreed upon to change it. I'm not an expert at it. This is just giving you just a roundabout idea of what it is. But nevertheless, it's easier to track. Paper trail is not easy to track. Back in the days when cops had to, find out who committed certain crimes, they had to go through a book of different thumbprints and fingerprints. They had to go through reams of research and paperwork. Now, at the click of a button, they can find all that stuff online. They could go to the FBI's, webpage and check out. Okay, let's see if this guy got any federal warrants or whatever. Is he wanted in any state? And they just put in the people's, Hey, shalom, bro. Ya shabakata.
Hey, Shalom Apostle. What's going on, man?
Not much. I'm doing the live right now.
Okay, Salaki.
That's okay.
I was calling Elder Arianaza. He was calling about the naan bread. He didn't know if you wanted like the actual naan bread, like it's a good ass garlic naan bread that she makes, or the Passover style.
Oh no, brother, that garlic, man, the garlic.
Okay, cool. He said he preferred that one. He said he had that one.
Okay.
He said it's real good. So
Okay.
I'll let him know you said the garlic.
Okay, to water, bro.
All
right, shalom. Okay, so blockchain-based payment, according to Bloomberg. All right. It says the announcement comes less than a month after the central bank pitched its own digital euro. Indeed, board member Piero Cipollone led a push to promote a stable coin for Eurozone banks that would respond to U.S. President Donald Trump's crypto push, a Reuters report notes. So they're making it seem like they're against each other. And that's getting people more excited about it. But you have a controlled opposition, and when you had the Federal Reserve as set up, right? The thing I always use that as an example because it's a good example of how people are against something, but when you have the people that are, I'll give you an example. All right, the individuals that wrote up the Federal Reserve system bill, right? They were known as big business tycoons. They were known to dealing with big business. So if their name was on it or anything had anything to do with them, and they knew it had to do with them, most people didn't want to accept it because it was tied to big business. But when Paul Warburg, which was a smart one, Nelson Archer was a dummy, they would have never got it past it. If he would have been in charge. On top of taking out certain provisions to get the bill passed, he also told Aldrich and one of the other individuals in the meeting to lobby against it or to speak against it, speak bad about it, because they were known to be invested in big business tycoons. So when they went out there and spoke about we don't think this is a good bill, blah blah blah, that intrigued other people that didn't want it to accept it because the individuals that were a part of big business spoke against it. but it was all part of the plan to get it passed anyway. So this is what's happening here. It's making it seem like the so-called Europeans and the so-called Americans and this and that, the other, and Russia and them are all against each other. That's why they're trying to create their own thing. But the point is to get the system, the digital system, on track. Afterwards, everything can be merged into one because it's easier to merge it now once the infrastructure is there and once the whole system is put in place. And this is what you see happening right now. You know, so it says European Central Bank looking to create blockchain-based payment system. The digital asset industry has grown rapidly since the calendar turned to 2025, and that's right, less than 2 months, into this, and you see things moving and grooving, shaking and baking. With the United States electing its first pro-crypto president in the form of Donald Trump, his push to embrace the asset class had the potential to spur a global movement. A global movement. You got to keep an eye on the word global movement. One world and things like that, phrases like that, in the same direction. Why? Because everybody has the same idea, because they have the same plan. It's just seeming like everybody's arriving at it in different ways. But it's just a guise to get everything online. And then they just change what they need to change when they need to change it. And guess what? Once it's in place, what you're going to do? You can't change it. So you have to either conform or you get left out. You either take a ride in a right train or you get run over. Inside joke. There is a growing sentiment that the technology behind cryptocurrencies will play a critical role in an evolving financial sector. Why? Because the economies of the world are moving in that direction. Because it's to usher in the MOTB, which is the micro CHIP, the ultimate form of control. And that's what the bankers have been wanting for the longest. Now that has the European Central Bank eyeing the establishment of its very own blockchain-based payment system, right? It says the ECB reportedly wants to establish a system to allow financial institutions to settle transactions in central bank money. And a central bank is something that centralizes everything. Let's look that up so I can show you. Central bank. Here it is. You have the government that has the ability to print their own money, but when you have a central bank, the central bank is lending money. Central bank meaning. Let's just put it like that. Let's see what comes up. Central bank is a semi-independent government authority, or they're not really a government. They're pretty much a privately owned corporation, just like the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not a governmental agency. It sounds like it, and that was another master stroke genius of Paul Warburg. It sounds like it's governmental because of federal. But when you look it up, it comes up under the white pages. It doesn't come up under the government blue pages. A central bank is a semi-independent government authority that performs the following functions. I'm trying to get like a better. A national bank that provides financial and banking services for its country's government and commercial banking system, as well as implementing the government's monetary policy and issuing currency. When according to the Constitution, the American government has the right to print money. That's where you have a mint, right? But here it is, a central bank. Everything is directed through the central bank. So now you got to pay a kickback to the central bank for issuing you money that you can set up on your own. So this whole system that you see going up is just that. It's a form of control in the hands of a few. It says, Bloomberg notes, moreover, the introduction of the payment system could be the latest step toward the introduction of a central bank digital currency, CBDC. This is an important contribution to enhancing European financial market efficiency through innovation. Piero Cipollone told the publication in January Cipollone had said Europe was in need of a digital euro. The development shows that in any form, there is a growing push to embed blockchain technology in the ECB. And that was it on it. All right. So now with these individuals that are immersed in having this world to keep going, they're not looking for the kingdom. They are in their kingdom right now. So Romans 11:7, what then? Israel have not obtained that which he seeketh for. What is Israel seeking for? Salvation, the truth. But the majority of them are not going to find it. And even those that found it are not going to stay with it. Because a lot of these individuals you see are full of shit. But the election have obtained it, and the what? And the rest were blinded. You see? And the Lord blinded them in whatever form or fashion that he used to blind them. And then this was a direct curse that goes all the way back. So just like you had the ancient prophets that are back now doing the same thing, you had individuals back then that were killing the prophets, coming against the prophets, killed Yahushua, coming against Yahushua, coming against the disciples, the apostles, so on and so forth, that are doing the same thing today. Some of them were a part of the ministry, and they left and came against the ministry. Some of them were just out there from the beginning, never came into this thing, but always spoke against it. So King David, which I believe this is King David, King David, in prophecy, because this is speaking about Yahushua, right? It says, let their table become a snare before them. What is the table? I mean, this knowledge. You're setting out the table. You're setting out all of the beautiful wisdom in the form of a beautiful dinner, right? But the table that they have, they have the same scriptures, but they're wrestling with those scriptures. Like it says in the book of 2 Peter, the 3rd chapter, they're wrestling with them because it's a trap unto them. So Yahushua can either be a trap or he can be a door opener for brothers and sisters out there. And that which should have been for their welfare, let it become a trap, which is what? This truth. It becomes a trap to them because a lot of them are using this truth to gain money for monetary gain. They're teaching this word, not sincerely, for strife and envy and for filthy lucre's sake. And others are teaching this word in sincerity. And the Lord is making a distinction now in these times of who's on the right path and who's full of shit. Let their eyes be darkened that they see not, and make their loins continually to shake, right? Because they're not stable. See? Therefore, they make erratic moves. They're always changing things because they're not stable. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Pour out thine indignation upon them, and let thy wrathful anger take hold of them. Let their habitation be desolate, and let none dwell in their tents, for they persecute him whom thou hast smitten, and they talk to the grief of those thou hast wounded. Right, so that's dealing beginning with Yahushua. They did that too, and to us. And add iniquity unto their iniquity, and let them not come into thy righteousness. Why? Because they are blinded from getting this truth. That's why all these beautiful prophecies that are popping off all over the world, they can't see it. They're too consumed in making money. They're too consumed in living a good, pleasant, lovely life. They really don't care about the truth. The truth to them is a come up. The truth to them is what the world would have been to them in whatever field they were in. Whether they were in the entertainment field as far as sports or music or whatever the case may be, or acting. They're treating the truth just like they did that, as a come up, a way to make money, a way to escape out of that low position or low condition they were in. Because they're trying to escape the prophecies. But you can't escape the prophecies, man. It's too high powered. Let them be blotted out of the book of the living and not be written with the righteous. And right now, the Lord is making a distinction. Oh, they got the appearance. They look the part. you know. But that don't mean shit. Then you have men that don't look the part, that are, they spoke about the Apostle Paul, how his physical presence was contemptible, you know. Let's see. Let me see if I could find it. Let me just do it like this. Should pop up. I believe it's okay. 2 Timothy 3:5. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. That's why you would have the Sakari and even Genesis that will say, they're in Genesis now, that will say that, no, we don't have to worship Yahweh Shai. He's just another man, just like us. Which he is a man, but he is the son of the Most High. He is our Savior. He is to be lauded and praised and worshipped. And we worship Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. So they have a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away. So the consensus is, somebody ain't walking on the right path, get the fuck away from them. Don't be mingled with them. Don't come around them. Because there's no agreement between, Yahweh Shai and Belial. There's a total separation. You got to be on one side or the other. You can't be on both sides. You can't serve two masters. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. I believe I didn't put this in the description box, but we read the whole thing. It's not really a lot. So if you want, you can just type in watcher.guru and type this right here, the title, and then it should come up. All right. So with that, I pray that you brothers and few sisters have been edified. To the next time I say, Shalom.